It is a beautiful night for baseball here in Cincinnati as the Reds look for their third consecutive win. They won last night against the Brewers. They play the middle game of this three-game series here tonight on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds were a winner last night here. So were the Pirates. So were the Cardinals. So the standings today reflect exactly as they did yesterday. The Reds by a half game over the Pirates, 5 over St. Louis, and now 8.5 games ahead of this Milwaukee ball club. Hi and a pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Couch along with Chris Welsh. Welcome to Reds baseball. Well, the Reds tonight looking for the middle game of this three-game series. To match it up with a victory last night, we'll go to the right-hander Bronson Arroyo. And Chris, while he did not have a good start his last time out, his 2 starts this year against Milwaukee have been very good.
Yeah, they really have, especially in Milwaukee. He's a guy that is pitching against a fastball-hitting ball club like the Milwaukee Brewers, and he's going at them with a lot of breaking balls, change-ups, all sorts of different pitches that they simply don't adjust to all that well. Bronson Arroyo in his career, he's seen them so many times that there's very few secrets between Arroyo and the Brewers. We'll see if he can continue the kind of way he has pitched to them in his career. Now, Yovani Gallardo, big right-hander, throws over the top. He's coming off an outing in which he struck out 14 batters. That was Pittsburgh Pirates his last time out. He's got a big curveball. He's got a nice slider, good changeup. This guy's a competitor. He's rolled off about 13 starts in a row where he's gone at least 6 innings. So it's pretty much guaranteed this guy and Bronson Arroyo are going to take you right deep into the ball game.
And there you see their numbers on the year, fairly identical in terms of number of starts. ERA a little bit higher for Bronson Arroyo. Home runs about the same as well. Both big curveball specialists, so we'll see a lot of breaking stuff here tonight at Great American Ballpark. Meanwhile, last night, an awful lot of Scott Rowland. We'll see Rowland today rolling along in the second game of this three-game get-together.
Of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Nice gathering here at Great American Ballpark. That's where a number of the home runs went last night off Reds bats out into that left field area, and they're hoping to see some more tonight. You see the beautiful weather here at the ballpark tonight. Weather report brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Let's check in with Scott Dimick.
Hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Scott Dimick. If you're heading out to Great American Ballpark this evening for the big game, expect temperatures to be falling from the 80s early into the 70s late. I think we're clear to partly cloudy for first pitch at 7:10. For the seventh inning stretch, we're down to around 80 degrees. Little to no cloud cover overhead as you head back from Great American Ballpark. Should be a nice night, and the humidity will stay low all the way through the evening. Enjoy the game.
All right, Scott, we go from one Scott to another. How about Scott Rowland last night?
Boy, he was on fire last night. Scott Rowland was. He got base hits. He ran the bases. Look at this guy. Hey, the young Scott Rowland, head first. Yes! And not only that, he wants to show us another Pete Rose impersonation. There he is going into third on a wild pitch. I'll tell you what, Scott Rowland was all over the place last night, including the left field bleachers on that bomb he hit. And looks like Scott Rowland is in the swing of things right now.
Home run he hit last night was his fourth of the year. The Reds hit 3 of them. They try to keep it rolling here tonight in the middle game of this 3-game get-together.
I like that.
Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Cincinnati USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Tonight's game being broadcast on the American Forces Network. We'd like to welcome all those watching in 175 countries and ships at sea around the world. Welcome to Cincinnati and Great American Ballpark and this first-place ball club, the Cincinnati Reds, by 1/2 game over the Pittsburgh Pirates in the NL Central. Ron Renneke, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, in his second year, led them to the NL Central Division title 1 year ago. This year, they come in at 4 under, 44 and 48. 8.5 games behind the Reds. Norichika Aoki leads things off against Bronson Arroyo, and this game is underway on a high fly ball headed to right. And Bruce is there. So 1 pitch, 1 out as we take a look at Milwaukee's lineup. Turned in tonight by Ron Renicky. Aoki leads off. Travis Ishikawa in the lineup at first base tonight. And Braun is third. Ramirez, Hart, Weeks in the middle. Then Maldonado, Bianchi, and Gallardo round out the bottom 3 for this Milwaukee club against Bronson Arroyo.
Well, he makes his 19th start. Bronson does. He's having a hard time getting decisions this year. He only has 10 of those, 4 up, 6 down. But he's pitched pretty well over his career against the Brewers. Lifetime 12 wins, 8 losses, and a good earned run average.
He deals now with Travis Ishikawa playing first base.
When you face a team as many times as Arroyo has faced the Brewers, 23 starts overall. I mean, obviously you run different rosters and different players and so on, but there are very few secrets now that Bronson Arroyo has that the Brewers don't know about.
Well, you take a look back all the way back to the middle of July 2009, some 3 years ago. He's had only 1 bad start against them, and we talked in the open, Chris, about the 2 outings that he had earlier this year against them. Just outstanding.
Well, you're right, and you wonder the same thing goes for Jay Bruce. So do you think that maybe tonight it'll be Arroyo Bruce, a little vitamin A-B going at the Brewers?
You got it rolling tonight, don't you? We're only in the top of the first.
Now, when the late Joe Nuxall used to refer to vitamin A-B, it was a completely different reference.
Was it?
Yes. One that you would appreciate very much.
I'll take your word for it. There's Nuxie's microphone right next to Marty's. 31 years, a tandem on Reds radio. Ishikawa did not start in the game last night. Did appear as an 8th inning pinch hitter and flied out, hitting .226, 4 home runs, 18 RBIs. He's the former Giants player, signed with Milwaukee to a minor league contract in December of last year. Non-roster player, made their club out of spring training. Getting the start at first base. Corey Hardu was at first base last night and has been getting a good portion of the time there, as in right field. Aoki moves to center. Gomez, who was out there last night, not playing. We've not seen Nyjer Morgan at all in this series thus far. And no, he's not on the DL.
Bronson thrown a lot of fastballs here early in the ball game. And last time that he went out there, he would be the first to tell you that, hey, I went out, I looked at the radar gun readings on the board, and I was muscling up, and the fastball was only going 84, 85 miles an hour. Tonight he's throwing at 88. That's a little better range. Doesn't sound like much, 3 miles an hour, but I'll tell you, between batter and pitcher, 3 miles an hour could be a big item.
Ishikawa making him work here in the first inning. You said an interesting thing, Chris, during the before the game got started. You said both Arroyo and Gallardo's numbers could be better this year, but they usually have 2 or 3 bad starts, which really inflate things for the whole year.
Well, we know that about Arroyo. I mean, his usual bad starts are against the Toronto Blue Jays, but he'll also have a couple of throwaway games, you know, that really jumps that earned run average up, and it makes his overall statistics not really reflect exactly what he does on a consistent basis.
Take a look at the Reds defensively as Ishikawa strikes out. Brought to you by your Ford dealers. Ludwig, Stubbs, and Bruce across the outfield. Infield left to right, Rowland, Cozart, Phillips, and Frazier. And as always, Hannigan catches Bronson Arroyo. So the first 2 set down, and this is already a much, much better start than the last time out for Bronson, when he really had a tough go of it in the first inning against Arizona on Monday, when the first 5 reached via the hit. That line drive looked like it might have been knuckling at Cozart, but he makes the catch. Braun retired, and a 1-2-3 first turned in by the 35-year-old Bronson Arroyo. For another victory tonight, as he was able to watch from the dugout last night. And here's a look at his batting order this evening. Stubbs, Cozart, and Phillips at the top. Bruce, Rowland, Ludwig in the middle. Frazier, Hannigan, and Arroyo the bottom three. Reds team is 153, lost 40 on the year. On the mound is Giovanni Gallardo. Let's take a look at our Farmers Insurance report card on this right-hander.
And it's about Giovanni Gallardo and Bronson Arroyo both being curveball pitchers. Arroyo throws his curveball much slower, 72 miles an hour there compared to 81. And the revolutions on Arroyo's is about 300 per minute faster than the one for Gallardo. So Gallardo's more like a slider or a harder curve, and Arroyo just flips that big old curving frisbee up there, and that's the way they get it done. Both right-handers. Gallardo's only 26 years old as compared to the 35-year-old Bronson Arroyo.
Stubbs leading it off. 6th straight game he's been in the #1 spot for Dusty Baker's club. Well, you mentioned an interesting number, Chris, in the open, and that was 14 straight games for Gallardo that he's gone at least 6 innings.
Yeah, he's had 7 quality starts in a row. That streak was interrupted by a game that he pitched against the Cubs where he gave up 5 runs in 6 innings. I don't know the details of that game, but this guy is pretty much as good as you can get as far as getting you into the 7th or later.
That may be trouble. That one is caught by Ricky Weeks. Weeks went out there right in the midst of Ishikawa and Hart and came out with that ball. That's a nice play right there.
Well, that ball was up so high that Drew Stubbs was nearly at second base by the time Ricky Weeks makes this catch. You know, in this matchup between the Brewers and the Reds, you have 2 of the most athletic second basemen there are in all of Major League Baseball. Now, I'm not putting Ricky Weeks in the same category as Brandon Phillips. Weeks has 12 errors. Brandon Phillips has 2. But you're looking at guys that are just gifted athletes.
No question about that. Here's Zach Cozart now, the Red shortstop. Homered to get the scoring started in the game here last night in the bottom of the 4th inning. In fact, he marked the first base runner the Reds had against Marco Estrada when he homered with 1 out in the 4th inning.
And we'll see if that Gallardo will pitch him differently tonight than the Brewers did last night. That home run that Zach Cozart hit was on the inner part of the plate. Marco Estrada tried to get in on him, and he just got unjammed by a very quick bat that Cozart has.
Here's last night, his 10th of the year.
It's a line drive, but boy, he is you know, most of his home runs are in that spot.
Yeah.
On the inner part of the plate, he brings his hands in very nicely and gets that bat head through.
He lines this ball into left field beyond the diving third baseman, Aramis Ramirez. So the Reds don't have to wait long tonight to get their first hit. Single by Cozart. He now has 4 straight hits.
I get the feeling that Zach Cozart enjoys the #2 spot. And I wondered if he really has 2 guys at the very top of the order here that would rather be hitting second than hitting first. He's on a little bit of a roll right now, feeling pretty good about himself. Picked up the team last night with that home run.
Yeah, he snapped that 1 for 22 with a homer in the 4th, then had a single in the 6th, a double in the 8th. So a hit in each of his last 3 at-bats last night, and a single his first time up today. Now it's Brandon Phillips in the #3 spot, replacing Joey Votto until Votto returns. Brandon held hitless last night, 0 for 4. Comes in at 287. 11 homers, 55 batted in. His last home run, of course, was part of that big comeback on Thursday afternoon against Arizona, where he had 5 RBIs. Shoots it to right. Cozart will keep an eye on the ball. Hart comes up with it cleanly, so he stops at second base. That's where Phillips seems to be going a lot, Chris, that way.
You know, it's one thing to see Brandon Phillips do this and say, man, why doesn't he do this all the time? And then when you think about him being in the #4 spot, sometimes being in that cleanup spot gets into your head and you think, you know what, I need to hit home runs, I need to bang the ball off the wall. But this is Brandon Phillips at his best right here, slashing the ball, going all over to different fields. Very tough to defense when he does that.
A 2 on with 1 out for Jay Bruce. He takes a breaking ball strike. He snapped an 0 for 19 with his double in the 4th inning last night, and added to a 1-0 lead with a home run in the 7th inning. Number 19 for him, that made it 2-0 at the time. The Reds went on to win 3-1.
Now this cannot be a very comfortable spot for Giovanni Gallardo. He knows that Bruce has got plenty of power. Hit one 440 last night. And he's also killed Gallardo in his previous matchups. 10 for 23 overall. That's a .435 batting average.
Jay Bruce has 21 career home runs against the Brewers. That's the most against any opponent for him in his career. Toward the middle by Weeks. That's a hit. That's a run batted in. Scoring is Cozart. Phillips hustles the third. Back-to-back-to-back hits and a 1-0 Reds lead. That one had eyes as it got by Ricky Weeks.
Well, you know, most teams like to play a shift on Jay Bruce when they can. But the Brewers don't, and that ball going away would normally be a double play ball. But Ricky Weeks kind of pulled into the hole. He can't get to it. The shortstop did not go all the way around to shift him to the other side of second base, so it left that hole open up the middle. So Jay Bruce gets a hit with runners in scoring position.
Gallardo, who only allowed 4 hits in 7 innings his last time out in a victory against Pittsburgh, now has allowed 3 hits here in the first. Here's a third of the 3 Reds who homered in the game last night. Scott Rowland. He lifts a high fly ball to left field, carrying into the corner. Braun is there. He'll make the catch for the out. The throw comes into second base. Phillips tags and scores. Rowland gave it a bid for a 3-run shot. He'll settle for the sacrifice fly, giving him his 20th RBI and a 2-0 Reds lead.
Well, a good start right there. Anytime you get a pitcher who is as quality as Giovanni Gallardo, and he struck out 14 in his last game. You get him a little on the ropes in the first inning, that may be the only time you get him. Rowland nearly went yard, but the important thing is that they got a ball into the outfield and they score another run.
Throw into second holds Bruce at first. Now it's Ludwig. Ludwig himself has hit the long ball against Gallardo twice. He has 4 career hits against this right-hander. 2 of them home runs.
Who's that guy?
Joey enjoying a little break on the bench, saying, hey, all right, good deal. 2-0 advantage early. Ludwig in the game last night, 0 for 4. 14 home runs, 39 runs batted in. They shift against Ludwig. Weeks is on the shortstop side of second. Runner going. And a stolen base. The ball into center. Bruce is going to try to scamper to third. Here comes the throw. Safe at third base. That'll be a steal and an error. Jay Bruce gets his 6th of the year. And a throwing error in Maldonado.
Well, he had a big jump, and Gallardo's a guy with a big kind of deliberate delivery to the plate. That ball just gets right by Ricky Weeks and allows Jay Bruce to get into third base.
Those play at third. Tim Timmons over there, right on top of the action, made the safe call with Ramirez flipping right over. And by the way, they give an error on Ricky Weeks on that, the second baseman, not on the catcher Maldonado.
You know, that's a good call, because I've said for a long time, those errors that where a catcher throws a ball and it's a tight play at second and it goes underneath the glove of the second baseman or shortstop because they're trying to olay it and make a tag at the same time. Get in front of the ball.
Ludwig, line drive, way back. Second deck shot, Ryan Ludwig, number 15. And a 4-run first inning is what greets Giovanni Gallardo here in the Reds first.
by Ryan Ludwig. You know, talking to him before the ball game, he was telling me that he didn't really pick the ball up very well off of last night's starter, Marco Estrada. But he said, I do see the ball much better off Yovani Gallardo. And that certainly was the case as he got one grooved on the inner third and unjammed him about 400 feet.
Well, 5 career hits now for Ludwig against Gallardo, 3 of them home runs. And now they didn't need the steal in the air with Bruce aboard, but hey, doesn't hurt at all. Ironic, the last time Arroyo pitched, he gave up 4 in the first, and now he gets 4 runs worth of support in the first.
What a good looking swing right there. We've shown you these freeze frames, and you know, you get the very firm front side right there of Ryan Ludwig, generate all sorts of power, but the key is he keeps his head right on it.
Frazier, the 7th man to bat here in the bottom of the first. 274 with 10 home runs of his own and 31 runs batted in. So the Reds now have hit 4 home runs in this series, giving them 104 on the year. These two teams amongst the leaders in that department in the National League. Braun handles it. Bottom of the first comes to an end, but a big crowd on this Saturday night at Great American Ballpark gets something to cheer about early. A 4-run bottom of the first.
I wouldn't do anything differently. You know, I played it hard. I played it true. I was exposed to some great opportunities. I got to do some really cool things as a player. Met some really good people, and now I'm in the Hall of Fame. So, you know, I wouldn't alter anything. I'm just happy that I was able to do it all in Cincinnati, and I'm just looking forward to getting back to Cincinnati to celebrate.
Tonight's storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. That sit-down with Barry Larkin can be seen in its entirety tomorrow during Reds Live with Brian Gieschenslaw. You heard Barry talking there about would he do anything different? No, he's so thrilled to have done his played his entire career in Cincinnati, and we hope to have some of his acceptance speech tomorrow if it is finished in time. The ceremonies at Cooperstown begin at 1:30. The game here at 1:10. Barry Larkin into the Baseball Hall of Fame tomorrow.
Man, it's really wonderful for Larkin, obviously, his teammates, of all the players that he played with during his long career with the Reds. But it ought to make the people in the city very happy, too. I mean, he's a homegrown boy right here from Cincinnati and has left his mark. And, you know, people don't remember that his major league debut, when he started a ball game, they put him in at second base. And that number 11 that he wore for the majority of his career, he did not wear that early in his career. That belonged to his chief competitor, Kurt Stillwell. And it was he and Stillwell trying to battle it out to see who was going to be the shortstop that would stay around the longest. And obviously Barry Larkin is the guy that did, and now one day away from being in the hallowed halls of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
In the air to center, Stubbs getting a move. Bruce there also. Jay gets to the spot and makes the catch to retire Corey Hart. Now, in that game when Larkin made his debut, as I believe it was against San Diego, who was the starting pitcher in that game?
That I would not know, but I was really talking about the game in which he started.
Oh, he started
as a second, his first major league start, not an appearance as a pinch hitter.
Okay, in his first major league game. To third, and the out at first base. So that's the second out of the inning, and the batter will be Martin Maldonado. Ramirez led off this inning with a double. He's now stayed put out at second. The next two batters have been retired. So here's their catcher, Maldonado. At 281, 5 home runs, 18 runs batted in, a couple of hits, including a double last night. Mentioned the fact that this guy was hitting nary a thing down at AAA, and he was called up. 198 down there for the Nashville club to replace Jonathan Lucroy, who is on their disabled list with a right hand fracture. They hope to get him back later this month or early August. But he's done very well up here.
Well, the string of playing time every day for Martin Maldonado. Now, he has really shown himself to be a nice young player on the upside. Got a lot of it. Good hitter. Got a nice arm. But they're going to get Jonathan Lucroy back probably on Thursday. He's down doing a rehab assignment right now, so the Reds benefited not seeing him. He's a good offensive catcher. And when Lucroy comes back, Maldonado will be the second catcher, and they may end up with actually 3 of them on their roster.
Yeah, they have George Gutierrez here as well. Arroyo trying to hang a 0 here in the top of the second after his team gave him a 4-run start in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, it's always a momentum inning. When your team scores, of course, what you really want to do is go out there and hang a 0 up there, just kind of keep the positive energy of the ball game that is flowing toward your team going the same way.
Big first for the Reds against Gallardo. Came in with a 3.59 ERA. Arroyo trying to bounce back from that last outing that he had.
Yeah, that was an outing that the Diamondbacks kind of just snuck up on. I think there were 4 runs scored before he even got an out in the first inning. Gave up hits to the first 4 hitters. I mean, it was 5 hitters, and it was just one of those games where, you go out there and you throw a few pitches, you look up, you've given 3 or 4 runs up, you say, what happened? How did I get here?
Particularly surprising because they had just come from Chicago where they'd scored 3 runs in 3 games.
They were due.
Bruce chasing this ball near the line is there, and Arroyo does exactly what he wants, and that is hang a 0 in the top of the second. Reds come up in the bottom half, up by 4. At the Reds live set for Sunglass Sundays. 100 people will receive free sunglasses courtesy of Fox Sports Ohio and the Ohio Department of Public Safety, reminding you to buckle up. It's a guaranteed home run every trip, every time. Sunglass Sunday tomorrow. Things keep going the way they're going tonight. Reds should be going for the sweep tomorrow. Who knows? Hannigan leads it off against Gallardo here in the bottom of the second.
Interesting that you talk about a sweep. Of course, the Reds would have to win tonight, but they're in a good position. I'm sure that that was what the Brewers were hoping that they would get when they came into this series. They lost last night and dropped them to 8.5 games back. They were 7.5 coming in yesterday. They got to figure, well, we can really tighten up if we swing 3 in a row against the Reds. But they have won 3 series in a row against National League Central foes, and they've got to win the next 2 right here in order to keep that string alive. I'd imagine that, you know, if you're the general manager, Doug Melvin of the Brewers, you're thinking, all right, this series in Cincinnati is very big. They took 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals, 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. They're beginning to move up the chain a little bit. But if they get swept right here by the Reds, this may be a full, maybe not an all-out sellout by the Brewers, but certainly may change their perspective about the rest of the 2012 season.
No question about it.
Of course, the rumor, and I guess it has been confirmed by the player, is that the Brewers offered Zach Greinke a long-term deal, very much like the Giants signed a long-term deal to Matt Cain in the same type of money, over $100 million.
Ishikawa handled this, and Hannigan is gone for the first out here in the bottom of the second.
And I bring that up because it was Zach Greinke, there he is, that was rumored to be among the most sought-after trade pieces for a team that needed a starting pitcher. Of course, Ryan Dempster in that mix. Maybe Wandy Rodriguez of the Houston Astros. The Astros continue to make deals. They made a big 10-player deal yesterday. They made another deal today.
Yeah, they traded Brett Myers to the White Sox
For a couple of minor leaguers.
So
we're going to need a new program when we get down there.
Well, we may see Francisco Cordero then closing for the Astros come early next week when the Reds are down there. Wandy Rodriguez, by the way, is scheduled to pitch the Monday night game. Arroyo, a strikeout victim. Second out of the inning. Let's take a look at the Brewers defensively now behind Giovanni Gallardo. Brought to you by your Ford dealers, Braun, Aoki, and Hart. A little different from yesterday. Ramirez, Bianchi, Weeks, and Ishikawa across the infield. Maldonado catches Gallardo. That strikeout, by the way, of Arroyo is the first of the night for Gallardo, who comes in 8th in the National League with 121 strikeouts in 115 and a third innings pitch. This guy's always been a big strikeout guy.
He really has, and he's a guy that will have, he's got 3 quality pitches, or really 4 if you talk to a lot of hitters that consider that changeup. But he's got a very nice fastball that he'll ride high. Get a lot of swings and misses on that. He's got a slider that'll come in the low 80s, and he's got a curveball. But he's only 26 years old. Here he is in his 6th season as a major league pitcher with the Brewers. He's already won 61 ball games, lost 40, so he's a winning pitcher for just a young guy.
And he really has. We talked earlier about how well he's been pitching. 7 straight quality starts, 14 straight starts, which he's gone 6. Ramirez will throw out Stubbs. Gallardo has himself a 1-2-3 second. We'll head to the 3rd. Reds up 4-0. and get over 150 select spring training games with no blackouts and every regular season game live or on demand on your favorite devices. Visit Reds.com for all the details. Some of the various sunglasses you'll see here at the ballpark today and tomorrow. Those aren't the ones that will be given away on the Reds live set. Good looking nonetheless. Arroyo in the third. He gets the shortstop Bianchi batting out of the 8th spot to lead it off. Last night we saw Cody Ransom at short. Cesar Izturis, shortstop here this year as well. Of course, with Alex Gonzalez out with a torn ACL for the year. They're doing some shuffling at the number 6 defensive spot. The Yankees contract selected from AAA Nashville on the 12th of July, so he's been up here just 9 days. Down there with the Sounds, he was hitting .305. Took the roster spot of Taylor Green, who was sent down there. Strike 3 called. It was Green, of course, who broke up the no-hitter by Bronson Arroyo his last time out against the Brewers. Hey, let's go downstairs and check in with Jeff Porcaro. Pick, where are you?
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. I'm actually over to your left in the press box.
Okay.
And you're talking about pitching and Bronson Arroyo and how well he's pitched. Well, before the game today, Dusty was talking about Homer Bailey and his performance last night. And basically what he was saying is, look, pitching and defense are going to win a lot of games. He's got a couple of guys that have been in some prolonged slumps, namely Jay Bruce and Stubbs and Kozar. But he says it has not affected the way they've played defensively. And if I can continue to get great defense out of them and we get the pitching that we've been getting, this team's going to win a lot of games. And he's starting to see they're coming out of those slumps. Stubbs has hit much better since he's been in the leadoff spot. Zach had 3 hits yesterday, another one today already. So that is his recipe for winning without Joey Votto.
Well, so far it's mixed up pretty well, hasn't it? Strikeout there of Gallardo, second out of the inning. Here's Homer last night, and what a splendid job he did.
He's just been dealing. 3 of the last 4 ball games he started, he's gone 8 innings. In the other game, he went 6+. So he's a guy that really has good control of his fastball. He had all of his pitches working last night. We hope to have Homer join us later on in the ball game. Maybe talk a little bit about last night, that 10 strikeout performance. How about no strikeouts for Homer last night?
No walks, right?
Or no walks, I mean.
Only the 8th game this year for the Reds in which they've not issued a walk. And this is the 94th game of the year. Nine victories now ties the career high for Homer Bailey. He had 9 a year ago. Last night was his 9th of this year. Arroyo quickly gets ahead here of Aoki. Slide out to right in the first pitch of the game. Now he's up there with 2 out, nobody on here in the top of the 3rd. The wins have been hard to come by for Bronson Arroyo this year. He'll field that ball. The former Gold Glover has himself another 1, 2, 3 innings, 6 in a row, 9 of 10 as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Tundra sign in right center field during tonight's game. Julia Schmid of Norwood will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. You can register for your chance to win in an upcoming game by seeing one of your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. That is directly above the Reds bullpen out in left center field. Good luck, Julia. Cozart to get things started here in the bottom of the third, looking to keep a hit streak going that sits right now at 4 consecutive hits. 3 last night and his first AB here today. The Yankee will throw him out, so the first out recorded here in the home third. Gallardo gave up 6 runs in his first outing of the season this year. That was at home against St. Louis in 3 2/3. He gave up 5 in 6 innings. Chris mentioned it earlier, at home against the Cubs on June the 5th, and now 4 in this game. And the length of his outing still to be determined. Those are his 3, quote, bad outings this year.
What it seems like you see a lot. You get a good pitcher like Giovanni Gallardo, you jump on him in the first inning for a few runs, and then the offense goes to sleep. Meanwhile, the whole game kind of takes over, kind of a pitching kind of an energy. Low scoring. Arroyo has been working right through the order of the Brewers like he has so much lately, and done very well doing it. And now you've got Giovanni Gallardo. Looks like he's finally got his sea legs in his feel and beginning to make some more quality pitches that he did there in the first inning.
Well, Gallardo was an all-star 2 years ago when he won 14. Last year actually had a better year, 17 wins and a lower ERA. Was not an all-star for the division winning team.
He was 7th in Cy Young Award voting last year, so I mean that's how good he can be. What he has done tonight, 50% fastballs, 50% off-speed pitches. But don't you love that Fox Tracks? I mean, the information it gives you is, there should be nothing that you don't get.
I agree 100%.
Watching a game on Fox Sports Ohio.
Yes, indeed.
Jim Kelch, Fox Tracks, and that's about it.
Joel Luckup on stats.
John Browdy on the Fox box.
Yeah, you get everything you need right there. Phillips line out means 2 out, nobody on for Bruce. RBI single his first time. He's 6 for 6 now in stolen base attempts this year for Jay. Against the shift this time, he hits it to the left of the shortstop, who is playing on the second base side. He's going to hustle into second as Corey Hart cut that ball off, then slipped and went to the ground, and Jay ends up at second base.
Boy, this ball club is just playing like a winning team, aren't they? I mean, they're taking extra bases, they're seeing opportunities, they're not being too tentative, go around first base and don't know what to do. Hey, he's thinking that ball's going to split the seam right there. I'm going to take second base. You bobble the ball, I'll take another base on you, just like Scott Rowland did last night. And Jay Bruce is safe at second. He is safe and secure.
New York Life.
Maybe it was the example set by Scott Rowland last night when he was running the bases wildly, daring do on the base paths.
How could you not be impressed?
Yeah, Jay Bruce says, hey, I'm 10 years younger than you, big guy. I'm going to do it too.
And what would really make it pay off is if they can get him home right here. Rowland's the guy at the plate.
On the American Forces Network tonight, all over the world, to our men and women of the armed forces keeping America free and the best country in the world. We're also being watched on MLB TV all over the world, including in Reykjavik, Iceland, by our good friend Broadway Rick, watching us tonight, probably sitting on a block of ice. Got his little iPad out.
Hard to right, but Hart is there. Roland gone. Bruce stranded. Reds leave their first of the game. We have completed 3 here at Great American Ballpark. Reds by 4. For nothing Reds through 3. Brewers have just the 1 hit. Oh yeah, people enjoying baseball and hot dogs at the ballpark. Doesn't get any more American than that. Wearing those nice red shirts. Arroyo working here against Travis Ishikawa, their first baseman. Struck him out his first time, but it took 9 pitches to do it. And Ramirez to follow.
Sometimes overhand, sometimes sidearm. You just really never know with Arroyo out there.
Just by the diving first baseman Frazier. That ball appears to be stuck under the tarpaulin roll out there. Up in the air go the hands of Brandon Phillips. That'll be a ground rule double.
You reach under there. I'm not putting my hand under there. Might be a critter or something in there.
A critter.
Let's just be happy that they haven't rolled this thing out here, really, in this series. Had a rain delay on Thursday. That was the last time it really had a problem. I think I know where it is.
And where would that be?
Right underneath that flap, right towards the end.
Yeah.
Definitely could be critter in there.
Good hiding spot, isn't it? 6th double for Ishikawa. So here's Ryan Braun. 4 career home runs against Bronson Arroyo. Hit the ball hard, knuckled it right at Cozart his first time, caught to end the first inning. Braun in the game last night, 2 for 4. Came in 8th in the league in hitting at .311. Leading the league in homers with 26, tied for 4th with 65 batted in.
Well, Braun's wheelhouse is really down and away. Maybe not down below the knees, but thigh high on the outer part of the plate. Loves to drive the ball that way. And what Aroldis Chapman did to him last night, you just don't see happen to Ryan Braun very often. I mean, simply blew him away with fastballs. And here's one of the best fastball hitters in all of baseball.
Yeah, on 3 pitches.
And really the last one being Braun's spot. 2-0 right down the can. You think he's looking breaking ball there?
Well, that's what you get from this guy. We mentioned on the top of the broadcast, 2 big curveball specialists, Arroyo, Gallardo. Phillips trying to do a little sales job there.
I love that move. I mean, if it works once in 100 times, why not do it? If that runner goes in and he has his head down when he goes into the bag and he sees Phillips make that move, your first instinct is maybe try to take advantage of it.
Chasing there, evens the count at 2-2.
Got to watch those middle infielders. They're sneaky. Well, he had a 2-0 fastball right down the middle, but he's looking for something else like a breaking ball there, and he still can't wait long enough as that ball really has a lot of break and just moves away from him.
Well, now he's really got to be wondering what Arroyo is going to come up with. Wrap up of this series tomorrow on Hall of Fame Day for Barry Larkin. Game will start at 1:10. Johnny Cueto, 11-game winner for the Reds. Mike Fiers, a righty at 3-3, will go for Milwaukee. Dropped down a little side on there and gets the strikeout of Braun. Got an update on that Pirates game tonight at home against the Miami Marlins. Justin Ruggiano, acquired at the end of May from the Astros by the Marlins, sends that ball the other way, and that ties that game 1-1. They're in the bottom of the 3rd now. Cardinal Cub game also underway in the bottom of the 3rd. That's scoreless. Pittsburgh won last night on a Neil Walker home run that snapped a 3-3 tie. They go on to win 4-3.
That's a pretty good matchup of veteran pitchers down there with the Pittsburgh and Miami game. That ball game being played in Pittsburgh. A.J. Burnett versus Big Z, Carlos Zambrano.
Well, you're right there. Zambrano made his first start as a Marlin here in this ballpark. I think it was the 2nd game of the year, after Mark Burley was the starter for them on opening day. Ramirez doubled to left center his first time. It didn't take the Brewers nearly as long in this game as it did the last time they saw Arroyo to get a hit. That, of course, was 2 outs into the 8th inning. Taylor Green single. He's now down at AAA for Milwaukee.
For one pitch at 88, next pitch at 73. If you don't really believe that pitching is all about changing speeds, changing the eye level of the hitter, being deceptive, all you got to do is watch Bronson Arroyo pitch, and he will convince you of that.
Most guys, though, don't think this is a sexy approach, do they?
Well, I mean, at 88 miles an hour, he would have a hard time getting signed out of a tryout camp right now.
And he gets their 2 big guns back-to-back here on strikes. First Braun, and now Ramirez.
And he gets them really on the identical pitch. It's a sidearm breaking ball that he gives a lot of arm action on, and you know, he just gets out there and flips that thing. We showed you before the ball game the revolutions per minute and the velocity of that pitch. It's about 72 miles an hour, and it spins about 1,500 times per minute on the way to the plate. Of course, it doesn't quite take a minute to get there. Sometimes it seems that way. But I mean, after seeing Homer Bailey last night throwing fastballs anywhere from 91 to 93 or 4. And you get a soft tosser like Arroyo, and then tomorrow you come back with a hard thrower again and Johnny Cueto.
That's really the way Dusty likes to work it out. Doesn't like to pick the soft tossers back to back.
Makes a lot of sense, really, because he knows as a hitter and playing every day what it was like to make that adjustment.
Hard fly to right his first time. Ishikawa leads away at second with 2 out.
Boy, he is just all over the corners right now. Got that little detail brush out, painting the black.
He couldn't be more polar opposite in this game than what he was in that last start against Arizona. Corey Hart here, a Kentucky native from Bowling Green, went to Bowling Green High School. That's a foul ball. Roland makes the play, but called foul down there by Tim Timmons, the third base umpire. Hard battling here against Bronson Arroyo. Arroyo, we mentioned earlier, a dozen wins lifetime against Milwaukee. That equals the most he has against any team. He also has a dozen against Houston. 12-8 against the Brewers, 12-7 against the Astros. And now he's gone as far as he can go with Hart. That's a hit in the left in front of Ludwig. Ishikawa will score as Roland cuts it off, and the Brewers get on the board here in the fourth. Hart gets his 45th. He had his 12-game hitting streak snapped last night. He gets the RBI single here in the fourth tonight.
Yeah, both the base hits in this inning have been really ground balls that have found the hole. This one, Corey Hart gets a fastball or a curveball that's up and bounces it on one hop through the hole between third and short. Really the first mistake that Arroyo has made, getting that ball up above the waist.
So now it's Ricky Weeks. Grounded out to Roland at third his first time.
I can never tell you what's going to happen in a bat, but this matchup right here, great fastball hitter in Ricky Weeks, but a real good, maybe the best curveball pitcher in baseball in Arroyo. I don't see Weeks sniffing this. Not if Arroyo makes his pitches. Now, with that said, I probably jinxed him, right? Is what you're thinking?
Yeah, maybe.
But
career-wise, 154 average against Arroyo.
I mean, just going on the basis of styles. In fact, last night Ricky Weeks was on deck when Aroldis Chapman struck out or got Corey Hart on a ground ball to end the ball game. That's a matchup I didn't really want to see with the tying run off, because Ricky Weeks has about as quick a swing as anybody around. But right now he's having a real difficult time negotiating that breaking ball from right-handers.
Now he'll get a look at a 2-0 pitch.
Well, Arroyo did throw a 2-0 fastball to Ryan Braun, snuck it right by him. I'd imagine Ricky Weeks, though, was looking for a 2-0 fastball. Well, they're going outside with a fastball. Well, that wasn't a fastball. It was a breaking ball. I have to learn my signs. They switched them up on me.
And there's not even a runner at second. Reds lead 4-1 here in the fourth. And a 4-pitch walk to Ricky Weeks.
Got a sniff of that one.
That'll bring Maldonado to the plate, representing the tying run for the Brewers. Something you don't see a whole lot of, particularly this year, by Arroyo, and that's walks. Only 19 of them in 111 innings coming into tonight.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden he has lost his feel. He was so good first 3 innings. Gave up kind of an excuse me double down the line of a ball that went underneath the tarp for a double. A couple of strikeouts. Look like he's back on the beam, and now looks like he's temporarily lost it.
He'll deal with the catcher Maldonado. Flied out his first time. 5 home runs on the year. Representing the tying run in this 4-1 game. Reds in front. First pitch swinging. Short way. Close. Weeks force. Phillips took the throw. And then one pitch to Maldonado. Arroyo through the frame with only the 1 run worth of damage. Question of the game since 1990. Who are the 4 players elected to the Hall of Fame born in the state of Ohio? 4 players elected to the Hall since 1990 born in the state of Ohio. Obviously Barry Larkin. But who are those other 3? You have an inkling?
I have an inkling of did one of them go to Ohio University?
Yes. He did.
And that would be Mike Schmidt.
Michael Jack Schmidt. Harry Callis used to call him.
Yep. Okay, so we've got 2. Come on, Love. Since 1990.
Since 1990. Ludwig's big blast back in the first inning capped that 4-run frame against Gallardo. Leads it off here in the bottom of the 4th. Frazier, Hannigan to follow. Against the shift, Ludwig still gets the base hit as Weeks was on the shortstop side of second base again. But that ball simply hit so hard they couldn't get it. A reminder, as you enjoyed tonight's game here at the ballpark, look forward to our Miller Time moment of the night. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Ludwig 2 for 2.
Weeks is the guy right up there in second base, and this ball is hit, as you said, Jim Couch, so hard that even the shift can't stop it.
Reds now have doubled up the hit total of the Brewers. 6-3, lead 4-1. To right. 7th hit of the game for the Reds. They're threatening now here in the bottom of the 4th against Gallardo.
Now taking it over last night and 1 for today so far. Todd Frazier wanted to join the hit parade, and he's at his best like most hitters when he goes the other way with that pitch. Looks like after a big game his last time out, Gallardo, where he struck out 14, simply doesn't have the snap in his slider or his breaking ball tonight that he's used to having.
Well, that was a career best for him. Tonight he's only registered the 1, and that was against Arroyo. Falling behind here to Hannigan, looking to extend his hitting streak, sitting at 5.
I mean, it's not like in his last outing Gallardo extended himself into a cautionary area for pitch counts. I mean, he threw 108 his last time out. Those 14 strikeouts, by the way, came in 7 innings. He threw 108 pitches the time before in 6 innings. So he's always a guy that'll rack up a lot of pitches. Sometimes you get out there and you reach back for that extra snap on the curveball. It's not there, and you find that baby just kind of rolling up there.
Hart, Ishikawa, and Weeks all over there. Ishikawa reached for it, couldn't get it. Hannigan in the hole, a ball and 2 strikes.
Does it seem like tonight is one of those nights where the Reds are just getting those little breaks?
Yes.
Like instead of that ball staying in play where somebody makes a catch in and out, he gets another life. A line drive by Ludwig against a shift just beyond the fielder instead of right at a guy.
It has the feel of 2010 for this Reds team and 2011 for this Brewers team.
It does, you're right.
You turn the calendar back 1 year ago, and it was the Brewers who were 13-ish or so over, and the Reds were laboring near the 500 mark, wondering if they were going to be able to get back in it.
Actually, I guess the comparison that I like to make about this ball club is that this much more resembles the what is it, 2010 San Francisco Giants.
Okay.
A team that really did win it with pitching. They didn't score very many runs. The Reds are not exactly blowing people out, but they're getting wins, just the way the Giants did a few years ago, and they nailed it down for the Bay Area.
Yeah, remember they had to go to the last day of the regular season to win the division title when they defeated San Diego, and then lo and behold, look what they did in the postseason, winning the World Series.
Well, winning the division title has never meant more than this year.
Right.
Because if you're in as a wild card, you play a 1-game play-in. So your whole season comes down to 1 game, whether you get in the playoffs or not.
Runners going, both of them on that 3-2 pitch.
So you run your best pitcher out there. You use all your best bullpen people. You do everything you possibly can to win that 1 game. Meanwhile, the division winner is sitting back, waiting for you to come to town the next day and play the winner of that 1-game play-in with a completely rested team, rested rotation, and rested ace of the staff.
They're moving again.
Souvenir ball night down the right field line.
Hannigan peppering that first base side with souvenirs. That went into the second deck.
Yeah, being quite democratic. Couple down low, one up high now. What if he can get one even up into that third level?
Hannigan about to see the 9th pitch from Gallardo in this AB. Ludwig single to center. Frazier single to right. Reds trying to add on to a 4-1 lead. Home fourth. This one's going to be playable. Infield fly rule called by the first base umpire, Mark Carlson. Ball goes in the foul ground. Hannigan is out. 2 on now and 1 out.
Of course, it's not an infield fly if it's in foul territory. That's a little trivia right there for you about the rules. How about the answer to the trivia question, Jim?
Let's see what we have. Since 1990, the 4 players elected to the Hall, born in the state of Ohio. There's Larkin on the bottom. We got Mike Schmidt. How about Raleigh Fingers in 92 and the knuckleballer Phil Necro in 97.
Raleigh Fingers? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I want to see a birth certificate. Steubenville, we are told that's where Raleigh's from.
Good question right there.
Yeah. As usual, we get it half right.
And another Hall of Fame type trivia question tomorrow during the wrap up of this series. There's your Butcher Boy. There's your Butcher Boy, Chris.
Yeah, that's when you take the bunt out, you pull it back, and then you try to slash the ball. Meanwhile, you've got the third baseman and the first baseman in playing very close. So if you hit the ball hard on the ground, chances are you're going to get it by this guy and this guy. You kind of bring them in a little bit, then you slash the ball right by.
Toward the mound, they're going to go to third, get the out, and try for the double play, but not get it. That'll go 1-6. The Yankee covering over at third base.
Well, you know, when it's first and second and a force out of third, it's just simply not good enough to get the bunt down. You've got to get it down the third base line, and in that case, you're bunting into a trap because you have the third baseman charging hard too. That would have been one of those plays where, and Billy Hatcher's taking him right now, why bunt into a trap? You have the first baseman charging down his alley. You have the third baseman charging down the third base alley, coming right up the chute as the pitcher. That's when you take the bunt back and do a little Butcher Boy.
Now it's up to Stubbs to try to get that runner Frazier home from second. There were 2 on with no one out. Now they're 2 on with 2 out. Going to third and out there. Maldonado throws out Frazier. They were going to throw down to second, it looked like. He broke for third. They get him 2-5.
Not very good on fundamentals in this inning.
The JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For over 30 Toyota offers available now, visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Look at Fountain Square, right in the heart of downtown Cincinnati. Watching the game down there as well. And certainly inside the ballpark. Big crowd tonight. Perfect weather. Early advantage by the home team. 4-1 lead now by Cincinnati into the 5th. The Yankee leading things off. He was called out on strikes his first time. Called up from Nashville on the 12th of July, but he actually started the year at AA Huntsville, played 19 games down there, 51 games at Nashville. And his big league debut against the Pirates back on the 13th of July. Stubbs chasing, and Drew gets there. Nicely done by Stubbs. The Yankee is out number 1. Reds fans, if you're looking for a quick and delicious meal the whole family will enjoy, how about trying JTM's Meatball Sub Kits? Pick up one today in your local grocer's freezer. JTM, let's create great dishes together. Stubbs just outran that ball for the first out. Here's the pitcher, Gallardo. Mentioning victories have been few and far between for Bronson Arroyo this year. He won his first back on the 19th of April. 3 starts later at Milwaukee, picked up victory number 2. That was on the 7th of May. Then he went a month and a half without another win. He won in New York against the Mets on the 15th of June. And went another 3 weeks before winning 2 starts ago at San Diego, that complete game shutout against the Padres on the 6th of July.
Don't fall asleep with this guy at the plate. 9 home runs, 30 runs batted in his career. That's why the first time up, Arroyo went after him after he got ahead with a fastball. Went after him with that breaking ball and finally struck him out on a curveball. Hit 4 home runs 2 years ago, only hit 1 last year.
Him on strikes for the second time in this game. That's 6 strikeouts now for Arroyo. Parents, give your son or daughter a big league experience this summer with the official Reds baseball and softball camps presented by Safeco Insurance. All campers receive their own Reds uniform, special instruction from a Reds coach, on-field VIP experience here at GABP, plus a guest appearance by a current Reds player. For information on the official Reds camps, visit reds.com/camps today. Bronson looking for his third 1-2-3 inning. Aoki is flied out, tapped back to the mound. Last night he was 1 for 4 with an RBI double in the 8th. producing the Brewers' only run of the night. Talking about Aoki, and here's Arroyo now. And they get Aoki for the third time. Frazier handles it. 1, 2, 3, fifth. Third time the Brewers have been done in order. And Arroyo has a 3-run lead in the middle of the fifth. UFC returns to Fox with 4 massive fights, including knockout artist Shogun Rua taking on Brandon Vera in the biggest fight of his career, plus an epic bout between former UFC champ Lyoto Machida and rising star Ryan Bader. UFC Fight Night on Fox, sponsored by Bud Light, is live from Los Angeles on Saturday, August the 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Big names in UFC boxing. Stubbs was at the plate when Frazier, ill-advised, tried to go to third. Looked like he got caught too far off second, didn't it?
Well, it did. I mean, you get into no man's land right there, and what's happened sometimes, the catcher will come up firing to second base, and you can run and beat the throw to third. But what the catcher did right there, Maldonado did a nice job of making sure that he made Frazier commit, and then when he started running to third base, he was a dead duck.
Stubbs 0 for 2 tonight.
That's a disappointing inning, really. I mean, you get the first couple of guys on base, you're thinking, all right, maybe add one, get the one back that they got, the Brewers did in the 4th inning. The Reds offense seems to have kind of gone to sleep here after that 4 spot in the first.
Seven hits in the game for the Reds, 4 of them in the first inning. So far, with Arroyo on the mound, it's been good enough to keep them comfortably in front.
But Gallardo wanted that one.
Yeah.
Stubbs turned around very nervously and looked at Angel Hernandez to wonder if he was going to ring him up or not.
Aoki runs that ball down. But they like him as a center fielder. They've had last night Carlos Gomez out there. Nigel Morgan has been there as well. But this guy is an all-star as a center fielder in Japan.
Well, you were telling us last night about all the things he has done offensively over there, and he's won batting titles. He's been an all-star player. He's a very fine player. Was it the Yakult Swallows that he played for?
Yes.
In fact, the word is that the Brewers really didn't know all that much about him when they signed him.
Heard they signed him sight unseen.
I'm not so sure if I go that far, but they did have some video of him. They knew that he could play. They knew that he had a desire to play over here in the United States. They got the deal done.
Cozart up there with one out. His stretch of 4 straight hits came to an end when he grounded out to the shortstop his last time. 3 hits last night, his 7th 3-hit game of the year. That's most on this Reds team. Hit hard, but at Braun for the second out. Make sure you're ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live has everything you need to know to get ready for that night's game, and it's only on your exclusive home for Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. And then after the game, Fox Sports Ohio will break it down. Interviews with Dusty Baker, star of the game for the Reds. That's Reds Live postgame, brought to you by King's Honda in the King's Auto Mall. Visit King'sHondaUSA.com. Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro here at home. Jim Day will be accompanying us on the road trip coming up to Houston and Denver. Colorado Rockies out there. Reds went down in order in the second. Gallardo trying to do it to them here in the 5th. Phillips has hit the ball hard twice, 1 for 2. It's amazing. Talk about Gallardo, 14 strikeouts his last time out, a career high. One of the top 10 in the league in strikeouts, and yet in this game, just the 1. Arroyo back in the second.
Yeah, and he's facing a high strikeout team with the Reds.
They have improved their strikeout total from a year ago, but still higher than Dusty Baker would like.
Well, I'm sure that when Yovani Gallardo found out that Joey Votto was going on the disabled list with a knee injury that would keep him out, well, obviously during this series, he was very happy. I mean, Joey Votto in his career had hit 10 home runs. 10 home runs in 25 at bats.
That's amazing, isn't it? It really is.
Against Gallardo. And so you take that kind of offense away, you give Gallardo a little bit of breathing room, especially on a night where he doesn't have his great strikeout stuff like he did his last time out against the Pirates.
Bruce waiting on deck. Ramirez will barehand and throw, and he got it. Boy, he made that play and was headed toward the dugout. He knew darn good and well that he had made it, and he did, to get Phillips and the Reds go in order for just the second time here tonight.
done it with a variety of different pitches. You see the fastball on the left. He comes more of a 3/4 arm in that slot to get a fastball. Throws it by Aramis Ramirez. But the curveball, the sidearm curve, is the one that he did get a strikeout against Ramirez on. Could not wait. Good pitch right there. You see the head kind of flying open on a part of Aramis Ramirez. And that's one reason why that breaking ball is so effective, because those right-handers, they just can't seem to keep their front shoulder in there. They just kind of fly open eventually, and that ball just keeps going away from them. Now, that is not to say that every time Arroyo drops his arm, he throws a breaking ball. He'll mix it up from every different angle he's got.
Base hit for Ishikawa to get the inning started. That'll get all the way to the wall. Going to be the second two-base hit of this game for Travis Ishikawa. He now has 7 on the year.
You know, one of the reasons why Arroyo has pitched so well in his career against the Brewers is that they're awfully right-handed. I mean, you look up and down the power part of their lineup this year without Prince Fielder around. Braun, Ramirez, Hart, Weeks, and then even on down to Maldonado. All those guys right-handed. So the Brewers don't have that left-handed kind of lineup that so many times Arroyo has seen from other ball clubs, where the manager will empty his bench with lefties. Ishikawa has 2 doubles. The Brewers have 4 hits. He's a left-handed hitter in the lineup, so go figure.
Roland can't get it, and then it's off the glove of Cozart and out into shallow left field. That's going to allow Ishikawa to move up 90 feet. It's a base hit for Braun. First and third, nobody out.
The lower spin on this ball, we talked about it. Boy, it takes a high hop right there. That area in front of home plate, that's about as hard as we've seen it all year long.
Here's Ramirez now, one big swing away.
Yeah, you know, you think that this ball game's under control just because Arroyo's kind of grooving along, and Red's got 4 in the first. In this ballpark, 3 runs is nothing.
Ramirez a double his first time, a strikeout his last. Been hitting the ball pretty well over the course of the last 6 weeks. Braun over there has 16 stolen bases in 21 attempts.
So what they'd like to do if they're going to steal Braun is just wait for a count they think they're going to get a slow breaking ball.
Diving stop. There's one. They got them both.
What a play by Cozart.
Boy, you just didn't think there's any way they're going to turn a double play on that, much less stop that ball.
I thought for a moment that had base hit written all over it, and all of a sudden here comes Zach Cozart, our John Morrell hot dog player of the game, going hard to the bag, knocking it down, pitching it over to Brandon Phillips. A quick turn. 6-4-3 in the book, but it's a whole lot better than that one when you see it live.
Boy, Brandon got rid of that thing in a hurry. No argument down there at first base from Ramirez or Garth Orge. A run does score, making it 4-2, but now the bases are clear with 2 men gone. Cozart, Phillips, Frazier. Boy, that was something to see. Hart had an RBI single back in the 4th, and now he's ahead 3-0. Ricky Weeks on deck. A 4-pitch walk issued to Hart, the second walk of the night by Arroyo, and both have been just like that, 4-pitch walks.
Weeks didn't get a pitch to hit at all last time, and not even close, actually. I'm not sure if Arroyo was pitching around him or just didn't feel good with him at the plate, but you would think that this would be a very good matchup for Arroyo. His strength is Weeks' weakness.
Congratulations go out tonight to Todd Redmond, who made his Reds organizational debut. He pitched for the AAA Louisville team this evening against Pawtucket. Went 7 innings, allowed no runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts.
Nice job.
And a 4-0 victory. Remember, he had come up here for, what, 1 day?
We hardly knew you, Tom.
Yeah. You know, I didn't know it at the time, Chris, but he had been up with Atlanta for 4 days and didn't pitch then either, so he's still yet to make his debut. But he gets the victory tonight in the 4-0 Louisville win. Reds led 4-0 after 1, 4-1 after 4. Lead 4-2 here in the top of the 6th. Weeks has power. Where he led off the game here last year with a home run against Edinson Volquez. Gomez followed with another one. First 2 batters of the season went deep. All-star year a year ago for Ricky Weeks. He had that ankle injury that knocked him out for about 6 weeks near the end of the season. Never really has been the same since.
Oh, he wanted to.
Trying to get through inning number 6 is Arroyo. Rowland to Frazier. Perfect throw by the veteran Scott Rowland. Nab Ricky Weeks at first. And the Brewers must settle for 1. Reds by a couple coming up in the bottom of the 6th. back to work here. Bruce leads things off in the Reds' 6th inning. Haven't scored since that explosion of 4 on 4 hits in the first. Bruce was a part of that, an RBI single. He also has a double tonight in the third, so he's 2 for 2. Brewers have inched back in this game. Down 4-0, then 4-1, now 4-2. So it would behoove the Reds to get some more offense going here. Pittsburgh, by the way, has scored 4 times in the 4th inning. They now lead 5-1 over Miami. And what a strange inning it was. They score 4 times without the benefit of a hit batsman, a sacrifice bunt, and an error. A run scores, a walk, a sac fly, a walk, a walk, a walk. They score 4 times without getting a hit and lead 5-1. Who imploded there? Carlos Zambrano. Well, the Reds need a win, it looks like. Keep that half-game advantage over Pittsburgh. Cardinal-Cub game scoreless in the 6th. That one moving right along. Here, 4-2 Reds. Bottom of 6. Gallardo trying to get through this game to make it 15 straight starts at 6 innings or more. Rolen and Ludwig to follow. Against the shift in shallow right, Weeks will throw Bruce out. Out number 1.
Well, this matchup between Gallardo and Jay Bruce has happened an awful lot. In fact, 25 times previous to this. Mazda pitch by pitch look at the at bat. First, they're going to pitch him inside. Breaking ball inside. They're going to try to get him off the play with a fastball. Bruce will foul this one off, another up and in. Then they'll decide after that wild one to go down and away a little bit and try to get him to chase. Did not right there. Then finally came up and in again and got Bruce on a ground ball. So a long at bat by Bruce, but it ends up finally he hitting the ball on the ground into the shift.
So it's Rolen, who's 0 for 1. Sac fly in the first, hit it to the warning track in left. Lined out to Hart in right his last time. Said after the game last night he was really feeling good. Boy, we could tell the way he was playing, running around the bases. He showed you that hustle in the second. Heads up play moving to third.
Nice to see him healthy.
Yeah.
Now, there was a time when he was walking around with that ice bag on his back and barely walking. You're thinking, oh my goodness, are we ever going to see this guy back up to major league speed again?
He missed about 6-7 days worth of action out on the West Coast trip. He tweaked his back, but since the All-Star break, he drives this ball toward right field. Hart chasing hard, did not get it. That ball up against the wall. Rolen around second. Here's Rolen to third, and in there with a slide.
How about Scott Rolen? Last night, legs a single into a double. He gets his first triple of the year, a ball that just gets off the glove of the right fielder, Corey Hart. Now, Corey Hart has arms that are about 5 feet long. And that ball just goes off his glove right there, nearly made a great catch. Yep, got a second gear. Shifting on down another gear.
Second time in 2 nights he's had to slide into third. Believe it or not, he had 2 triples last year for the Reds, and in 2010 he had 3.
I mean, believe it or not, wait till I tell him that.
He'll understand what I'm talking about.
He'd better. Of course, I'll preface it by saying, Jim Kelch can't believe you hit a triple.
Yeah, you'll try to throw me under the bus as well as you can. Here's that shift against Ludwig now with 3 infielders on the left side.
Now, this is where if you're Yovani Gallardo on a normal night, when you've got that strikeout pitch going, that you really go for a punch out. But he's only got 1 to his credit all night long, and that was the pitcher.
Runner at third, less than 2 out. They really would like to get this run home. Here's the Nissan drive of the game tonight. Ludwig capped off that 4-run first with his 15th of the year. Gord Bruce in front of him, headed 4-zip Reds. The bottom of the first. He'd just like as a minimum here to get the ball in the air deep enough to get rolling home. A lot of space at the first base side if he could hit it that way.
They've got it.
Infield is in. To first. Runner coming home. Ishikawa to Maldonado. To Ramirez. Ludwig down to second. That'll go 3-2-5. Roland is gone. And 2 men out.
Oh, not a great trade-off for the Reds right there. They weren't sure what Ishikawa would do with the baseball. But the ball was hit fairly sharply right there. He's the only guy on the right side of the infield. Happens to go right to him. So they essentially trade a runner at third for a runner at second, add another out.
Had he hit that ball just a little softer, might have been a different outcome. Now a hit by Frazier with a runner in scoring position could add to the Reds' lead. Todd comes into this game hitting .304 with runners in scoring position. One of the best on the team. Of course, Votto at .371 the best. Phillips plus 300. And Frazier the only 3 that are 300 plus. That goes flying down past the third base umpire Tim Timmons.
Wow, mark that one. That's a long one right there. Tell you what, if that's an Olympic event, Todd Frazier ought to be in it. That's about as long a bat throw as you'll see. Nice follow through. Holds a pose.
Good helicoptering action.
Got a little roll at the very end too, although I think they mark it where it lands.
Just like the javelin. There's one of those patented Frazier swings right there.
Trying to stay alive.
Backside going way out. Reaching for that ball.
It's not always pretty. I'll tell you, he takes a fair amount of abuse from his teammates about style and form. He could care less. Gallardo, we showed you that pitch count now, 111 pitch coming up. And that's about what he usually does. That's one reason why he only goes about 6 innings in each of those ball games. I think in the last 14 games he's gone 6 innings in every one of them. Former closer John Axford, he's now a middle reliever. I think he'll be in next.
Toward the middle, cut off by Bianchi. Throw to first is late. Frazier has himself a base hit.
Oh, what a nice pick down there by Travis Ishikawa.
Saved a run.
That ball looked like it was going to get right by him. He went out there and snagged that baby. Bianchi makes a nice play right here to keep it in the infield. That'll keep the run from scoring.
So first and third for Hannigan as Ron Renicky out of the dugout for Milwaukee. The skipper of the Brewers in his second year will take the ball from Giovanni Gallardo, some 111 pitches into this one. And the Brewers will make a pitching change here in the bottom of the sixth inning. The ace is gone. Gallardo heads to the dugout. Our Skyline call to the bullpen. And fans here at Great American Ballpark on Saturday, August the 4th, when the Reds take on the Pittsburgh Pirates, you receive a Johnny Cueto bobblehead. Cheer the Reds to victory. Take home a bobblehead of the team's ace. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to Reds.com today. Well, this is an oddity, isn't it, Chris? John Axford in a non-save situation.
Well, not anymore because he's no longer the closer. He was so bad as a closer, and you see that earned run average up over 5, that they had to get him out of there and get him into a part of the game where he can get his game back. He seems to be throwing hard. His breaking ball is going good. He's just simply not getting hitters out in the 9th inning, and the bullpen has been just a nightmare for Ron Renicky.
Axford was successful in 10 of his first 11 save chances this year. He's blown 5 of his last 11. Francisco Rodriguez, K-Rod, has taken over in the closer's role now. It really occurred in the Cardinal series, the one preceding this one. So Axford, the Canadian out of Ontario, Brantford, Ontario, went to Assumption College up there. Led the National League in saves a year ago with 46. Out of that role now. Ball bounces away. That's going to allow Frazier to go down to second base. Giovanni Gallardo, 5 2/3 innings in this game, means his stretch of 14 straight games of 6 innings or more comes to an end. 7 straight quality starts by the wayside. Hannigan still looking to extend his hitting streak, which sits at 5. Get it here. But now they're going to walk him intentionally at 3-0 to bring up the pitcher spot. First walk given to the Reds tonight. Xavier Paul comes out of the dugout, first base side. He'll get himself loosened up here. That means the end of Bronson Arroyo after 6. '86 pitch night for Bronson Arroyo through 6 innings. Pretty pitch efficient. 2 runs, 5 hits. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach of the Brewers, out to the mound to talk with Axford and Maldonado. Rick Granite's back to the dugout. Xavier Paul will bat here. Called up from Louisville on Wednesday. Todd Redmond, who had been up here for 1 day after the DLing of Joey Votto, was sent back to Louisville. Went to spring training with the Nationals. Hit pretty well at their AAA club Syracuse, .315 in 60 games. Requested, granted his release in early July. Signed in the middle of July, right after the break by Cincinnati. Played 6 games, was 12 for 25 down at Louisville. Former Dodger, former Pirate, was with the Pirates all of last year.
Well, a good opportunity right here to do what he was talking to me about before the ball game, which is just simply be ready for his name to get called and come up here and try to help this ball club win.
Gets himself in the hole here.
Yeah, what you may not remember is that John Axford, or even know that John Axford was once a draft pick of the Cincinnati Reds back in 2005. That was the year the Reds took Jay Bruce and then Travis Wood, Sam LeCure, Adam Rosales, Logan Ondrusek. Then you go all the way down the list of the 42nd round, and there's John Axford.
Amazing.
Evidently what happened is that they sent a scout after the 42nd round. At that point, you're just trying to fill out some roster somewhere, maybe taking a shot on someone. Well, they sent a scout up to Canada to watch him pitch and didn't like what they saw, so they decided not to pursue it. He ended up transferring schools, ended up going, I think, to Notre Dame eventually and signing and becoming quite the reliever he was last year, although he has lost that touch so far in 2012.
This is the third plate appearance as a Red for Paul. He flied out in his first at-bat earlier this week against Arizona. Walked in the game on Thursday against the D-backs. Arredondo throwing in the Reds' pen. Gone from 0-2 to 2-2.
Xavier Paul's from Slidell, Louisiana. You ever been down to Slidell?
Well, I know that's a suburb of New Orleans, I believe, and I've been to New Orleans a lot, so I've probably driven through or around Slidell. Now he'll get a look at a full count pitch.
Boy, a base hit right here by Xavier Paul could make a whole bunch of dejected Brewers even more so. And thrill some Reds fans right here on their feet now trying to root him on.
Bat goes flying. Ball went the other direction. Second time in this inning. The bat has come pinwheeling out of the hand of the Reds hitter.
Bat nearly knocked out Luke Stowe. Rick Stowe's son, Luke, right in the form of action, right in the way of action right here. He's in that camera well. Look out, Luke. Amy, look out down there, girl.
She sidestepped that deftly. Didn't bother her at all. Ishikawa stays down on that ball and steps on, and Axford keeps this a close game at 4-2 through 6. Cincinnati Children's ranked 3rd in the nation again in the new U.S. News and World Report's 2012 Best Children's Hospitals, and by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealers. No offense for the Reds since the first, but hanging on to that 4-2 lead. New pitcher on. Bronson Arroyo out after 6. 2 runs, 5 hits allowed by the Reds starter. New man of the game is Jose Arredondo.
Well, he has become the first go-to man out of the bullpen for Dusty Baker. He's put together a really fine year. 2.3 earned run average. He's been even better lately than that. And a guy that, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, it doesn't matter. He flips up that little split-finger fastball of his, and he's had great success so far this year.
Arredondo against lefties, they're hitting just 147 against him. Righties 250. He's actually been, we've talked about it before, more effective against lefties than righties. Overall 200 average hitters against this former Angels pitcher. Signed by the Reds a couple of years ago, underwent Tommy John and missed the 2010 season. In his second year with the Reds, now on the field. Maldonado gets the 7th inning started. Both starters out. Both are the pitchers of record. Arroyo 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits. Gallardo 5 2/3, 4 runs, 9 hits for Milwaukee. Maldonado nothing out of 2 in this game after a 2-for-3 night last night. That's a strikeout, the 7th by Reds pitching tonight, and a good start to the 7th inning.
Now the splitter again, I mean, it just goes straight down when he stays on top of it. Arredondo has very long fingers, and he's able to get a lot of whipping action on that baseball as he flips it at the very end. Gets that ball to tumble nicely.
A small little glove out there, doesn't he?
He's a former infielder. Of course, he was drafted, and not drafted, but signed as a free agent out of the Dominican Republic, out of San Pedro de Macorís, which is Johnny Cueto's hometown. They signed him as an infielder, shortstop.
Still using that little infielder glove. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Visit Mighty Mike and Newport Aquarium, the biggest gator in the country. Make it a weekend getaway. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. Cesar Izturis, a pinch hitter for Axford, waits on deck. That's going to drift out of play. Jose Veras, former Pirate, throwing in the Milwaukee bullpen. They get a third of an inning out of John Axford, but a big out he was able to get. And that ground out by Xavier Paul with the bases loaded. Reds have now stranded 5. Still leading 4-2. Right off Arredondo to Frazier. Got him at first. I mean, that ricocheted right off the body of Arredondo. Here comes Brian Price.
I'm not exactly sure where it got him, but it's going to bring the medical people. Paul Lassard, Dusty Baker, Brian Price.
They'll all come out and check on the well-being of Arredondo. That's a 1-3 putout. Took a hit away from the Brewers. Got him on the right forearm. You can see him looking at that area. He scalded that ball.
Boy, he sure did. I mean, right now, back on you. Kind of put his arm up as a defense.
Wow.
You know what happens with that? I mean, every pitcher that's pitched a long time has been hit in the forearm before. And it begins to knot up on you, like spasm a little bit, then you lose control of your fingers. But if it glanced off him, I mean, it wasn't much of a glance because it went right over the first baseman. Changed directions completely. Looks like he's all right. Actually, he's throwing harder now than before.
This fall, make sure to tune in every Saturday morning for Game Time with Urban Meyer. Before the kickoff, Coach Meyer will preview every opponent and give you the inside information on Ohio State's preparation for the upcoming game. Game Time with Urban Meyer every Saturday this fall on Fox Sports Ohio. Arredondo going to stay in there. Dusty leaves. Brian Price, Paul Lassard, the head trainer of the Reds, exit. Arredondo has a little smile on his face out there. Two out, nobody on. Is Turris will bat for Axford. Is Turris a switch hitter, hitting .226. A homer and 8 RBIs. Phillips dies, but reached for it, I should say, but couldn't come up with that ball. And Cesar Izturis has himself a pinch hit 2-out single here in the 7th.
That came on a pitch where Jose Arredondo tried to sneak that fastball right by Izturis. He just put a nice level swing on it. Boy, this ballpark, a 2-run lead, it just makes you nervous. You get a runner on, you're a home run away from tying this baby up. Even a guy not known for home runs like Aoki coming to the plate, leadoff hitter, he's got 5 of them. Brian Price checking with Porky Lopez, getting the word on the update on the bullpen. And they're going to go out and talk to Arredondo again. They're going to ask the home plate umpire Angel Hernandez if this can be another medical trip to the mound, so it doesn't count as an actual official trip.
Through a couple of more pitches, and back they go out there to the mound.
Now there's no communication problem here. Jose Arredondo speaks very fluent English. Very smart, bright guy. Hey, did you hear about the pitching coach who walked into a bar? I mean, what are they doing? Telling jokes out there?
No one's laughing, so somebody's not a comedian. They're going to change. Arredondo's going to leave the game. Walk off with Paul Lassard. The tying run. Aoki due up. We'll step aside. Reds still up 4-2. At American Ballpark tomorrow, cheer on your Reds at half price with the Meyer Family Day deal. One member of the family purchases a full price ticket. They'll get the option to purchase 3 additional tickets at half price. Plus, the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger get a kid's mini mascot set thanks to Coca-Cola. For tickets, you can call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/family today. There are some restrictions that apply. Here, wheels turning on both sides as Turris gets the pinch hit single. Injury forces Arredondo out of the game. Sean Marshall in.
Well, the left-hander in, and of course, since it was a medical move that the Reds made to bring a new pitcher, and Marshall had as much time as he wanted to warm up, and he had already pretty much warmed up to speed down the bullpen. So here he is ready to go against the left-hander, Aoki, top of the order.
Lefty set up here. Aoki is 0 for 3 in this game. Marshall had 2 tremendous years with the Cubs against left-handers, but this year lefties are hitting .280 against him. Trying to get the final out in the 7th. And a good start at 0-2. There are his numbers this year. Aoki, on the other hand, a plus 300 hitter against southpaws. Who's going to prevail here? Aoki represents the tying run. Throw to first as the runner takes off. Frazier, Cozart, got him. Well, wait a minute now. Hold it all. Angel Hernandez. I believe a balk has been called on Marshall.
They're going to call a balk on Marshall, and they'd love to argue that from the Reds dugout, but you're not allowed. Angel Hernandez called that balk?
That's what it appears, doesn't it? He's explaining it to Marshall.
Well, it looks from the explanation that Angel Hernandez saying that he didn't step towards first base. Now he may have a point there, Hernandez. You cannot pick it up and put it down in the same spot. So he moved that foot about 4 inches forward towards first base. In the estimation of Hernandez, that does not constitute a step towards the base. You can't pick it up and put it down in the same spot and throw over to first. And there is no 45-degree line, as so many coaches and amateur umpires think that there is. So a big break right there for the Brewers to keep this at bat alive.
Still an 0-2 count on Aoki. Ludwig. Marshall gets the job done. The lefty Aoki retired, and the lead intact at 4-2. Stretch time in Cincinnati. Leading by a couple at 4-2. We have a very special guest up here in the booth with us, Kim Nuxall, son of legendary Reds pitcher and broadcaster Joe Nuxall. Kim, how are you?
Doing fine, Jeff. Thank you. Hello,
Kim.
Chris.
We were talking about your dad earlier in the broadcast. I said tonight maybe Arroyo and Jay Bruce, vitamin A-B, may do some damage against the Brewers. Your dad used to refer to vitamin A-B. It was a little different type.
That's right. We'll leave it at that.
Okay, good enough. Hey, you're involved right now in the Miracle Field, and your dad's foundation, so much charity work up in the Hamilton and Fairfield area. Give us an update about the Miracle Field.
Well, this is a 7-year dream coming true. A week from today, we're having our grand opening. It's a 2-field rubberized field complex, and it's been an amazing story to make it all happen.
1 week from today, you mentioned.
Yes.
Take us through what's going to be happening up there.
Well, it's going to be quite an evening. We're going to start. The fields were built for kids to play ball. 5:30 will be our kids' game. Then we're having a Nuxie kind of a celebrity softball game at 7:30. We have the Fast Tracks parachute group bringing in our flag. We have Rozzy Fireworks topping off the evening. Joe Rozzy was up the other day, and he's really excited about putting a show on for us.
Sean Casey going to be there?
The one and only, absolutely. The kind of energy Sean brings to any event, and we're just, we're honored to have Sean. Sean's been a huge supporter of all that we've done, and it's going to be an exciting night.
Kim, for those folks who don't know what a Miracle Field is, take us through the concept and why you built it.
It's very simple, Chris. It's providing an experience that you had it. Dad always was very sympathetic and empathetic to kids who weren't as fortunate as he. So.
Now that shot we just saw was Aaron Harang's field. Mm-hmm. That is a single field. The one you're building is a 2-field.
Yes.
And you've had so many different people and corporations and benefactors that stepped forward and gave you labor and materials and cash and more labor and just for the love of the whole project. Are there certain people you'd like to thank now?
There's a huge list. It's some of my high school buddies, Cliff Baum and Kenny Bob Rodas, and my former neighbor Larry Tisch. I could go down the list. It's been an amazing story. When people come next Saturday, they're going to see $2.5 million of in-kind labor and materials toward this project. It really is developed into an incredible story.
Now, is the grand opening open to the public?
Yes, absolutely. It's free, no charge. Come on out, have fun. And, I tell people this is an event that it's a lifetime memory. I'm convinced of that for everyone. This is not just for Fairfield, not for Butler County. This is the entire tri-state area. In fact, we have a group coming from the Miracle League in Springboro, Ohio, is going to come.
Kim, you mentioned it's a 7-year endeavor, and just the time that it has taken you personally to keep this thing going over the course of the years is incredible.
It is. I leave the site every day shaking my head, or I'm in tears. It really is. 7-year dream come true, and we're sitting in the middle of a cornfield. It's really got that field of dreams feel. Now it's a field of reality.
And again, that's 1 week from today, the 28th of July. It starts at 5:30. People want to find out more about it. Chris, you've got the website up, right?
Yeah, the website's easy to find. It's just called nuxallmiraclefield.org. And if you go right on there, it'll take you to give you all sorts of information about the project that Kim has gotten involved in. Of course, the foundation started by his father and run so aptly and efficiently by you, Kim, and I know that it's a labor of love for you. I mean, we followed you for years and years and all the different charitable endeavors that you've done, but this is the whopper right here.
It is. I'm so glad Dad knew about this before he passed away, and boy, he would love seeing this one come true for us. So it's going to be quite an evening. It's going to be an emotional evening for all of us, but it's going to be special for a lot of people.
Kim, in the end, how many teams will use the facility?
We hope to have it filled up every day. We have a youth league being developed by the YMCA. We have a therapeutic rec league, which is an adult league. We're going to reach out to disabled veterans. We hope to have a disabled veteran league, community, the schools and such. So we hope it's used. That's why we build it, to be used every day. So we're excited about the potential of it. We hope to host regional and hopefully a national Miracle League event.
I thought one concept that you told me about during the visit that I had out there, Kim, was very interesting. Where you were going to, there's some regular youth baseball fields not too far away.
Correct.
And you're trying to get some of those baseball teams, regular kids who can run and play, to come over to the Miracle Fields and kind of interact with those players that are in the Miracle Field. That's a great idea.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's our Reds rookie program. You know what Charlie Frank's done for us. The Reds rookie, we have 350 kids this year, and next year every single one of those kids will have the opportunity to come down, walk down to the Miracle League fields. We're going to have 30 wheelchairs each day, and all of those kids will have that experience of playing baseball in a wheelchair, and thus we're trying to teach that empathy and compassion.
Of course, the key to the whole thing, as you mentioned earlier, is the rubberized field. It used to be where they had to play on the grass field. It would get muddy. They couldn't roll if you're playing in the wheelchairs. But the rubberized field, not only does it give everybody an opportunity to play, but you can play almost whenever, as long as it's not raining.
You're right, Jeff. Yeah, as long as it's not raining, we can play ball, no matter how hard a rain it was an hour before. We're out on the fields playing ball. Well, I did say Jeff. I did say Jeff. I'm sorry.
He was just on the radio.
On the radio,
right?
Jim. My apologies.
So you're comparing me to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that's not all bad.
That's not all bad.
Visiting with Kim Nuxall 1 week from today, the Joe Nuxall Miracle Field will open up. Reds leading here 4-2 in the home 7th inning. New pitcher on, Jose Veras. So you were over on the radio side talking with Cowboy and Marty.
Yes.
Come over here and visit with us.
Thank you.
Trying to get everybody to make sure they know what's going on out there.
Well, I'm just so grateful to you guys and Marty and the Reds organization. And what you've done for our family is hard to say thanks to. We're just forever grateful for all your support.
Kim, anything else that we should know that you want to pass along about the festivities that are going to go on next Saturday?
You hit right on it. It's open to the public, and I just want to share, it's a special memory for everyone. And of course, having Sean there, Sean built a Miracle League in his hometown, and for him to travel over here, the kind of special person Sean is. So I tell people, come and thank the people that have made this happen. Give them a pat on the back. So we're very excited about the evening next week.
Nothing too much for Sean, is there?
Oh, no. You know the kind of energy he brings.
When it comes to take care of children, nothing too much for him.
Absolutely. Sean gets it.
Kim, we couldn't thank you enough for stopping by and then passing along the information. We'll continue to do so this week as the event inches closer, and let's hope the weather cooperates and everything goes off the way you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Jim.
Okay. Thank you,
Kim. Congratulations on so many years of hard work, and you finally reached your goal here. And I can tell you one thing: your daddy, old left-hander, looking at you saying, "Keep up the good work, son."
Yeah, he would love this one. He would love this one. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
That's Kim Nuxall talking about the Joe Nuxall Miracle League fields that are opening up 1 week from today. And it should be a big event out there.
Boy, Kim has been involved in so many different charities, you know, in his father's name and just helping children. Now this one, the Fairfield Community Foundation involved in the Miracle Fields. Jeff Weiler, a big benefactor to the Miracle Fields up there. And if you get a chance to see it, not necessarily only next Saturday, but any weekend you drive up there and take a look, it'll bring a tear to your eye to watch those kids playing baseball on that Miracle Field. Maldonado still kind of messing with his equipment behind home plate. He really took a foul ball. I mean, a direct hit. And he's got that hockey style mask. Those masks now, they say, are a little better at absorbing the contact and the pounding that you get from getting foul balls that are directly right in the old kisser.
Jose Veras, third pitcher used by Milwaukee tonight, following the starter Gallardo, then Axford. Brandon caught a breaking ball, hit it well to left field, and that will add to the advantage. A 2-run lead turns into a 4-run lead as Brandon Phillips hits his second home run in 3 days. He now has 57 RBIs and a 6-2 Reds advantage.
Boy, Brandon Phillips is simply on fire. No Joey Votto. Brandon says no problem. I'll take over that number 3 slot. Maybe it is a number 3 slot that makes the magic. Right there, a hanging breaking ball pretty much right down Broadway. A nice smooth swing by Phillips. A 2-run bomb.
You know, Brandon talked about it the other day, Thursday, after that 5 RBI game. He said, hey, I understand that the pressure of this now goes to some of us. He said, I welcome it. I want it. I want to be the guy that people turn to.
Well, you know what? He's never shy about calling out the opposition, being the guy up front, throwing down a challenge, and then trying to back it up.
First runs for the Reds since the first against Gallardo come here in the 7th against Veras. The first by Ludwig, here in the 7th by Phillips. That means the home run streak continues at this ballpark. 74 straight games dating back to the 29th of July of last year, in which the Reds or the opposition have hit a home run here at Great American Ballpark. Franchise, rather a ballpark record. A sellout crowd tonight of 40,090, the 9th sellout of the year. Enjoying this one this evening. Pass along a very special happy birthday wish tonight to Mero Vallo. Turned 83 this week. Longtime Reds fan. Also happens to be the brother-in-law to former Reds great Wally Post. Many years as a Red. Back in the early 50s. Then came back to the Reds in the 60s. In fact, he was on that 61 Reds team that won the National League pennant, lost to the Yankees in the World Series. Happy birthday to Merle Vallow. Bruce called out on strikes in that 3-2 pitch by Angel Hernandez. It's the second out of the inning.
I'm not so sure Bruce liked it. He's had a pretty nice night already. A single and a double. A little around the plate breaking ball. Was it high enough is the question, and our Fox track says right at the lower end of the strike zone. Well, that Fox track is a big zone.
Broken bat to first. Ishikawa inning over. But the Reds add to their advantage here in the 7th inning. Brandon Phillips, number 12. Boys in the Hall, the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. After tomorrow's game, it's Hall of Famer and Negro League legend Buck O'Neil. Boys in the Hall, presented by Subway Restaurants, where winners eat. Well, the games we're following tonight, other than this one, 6-2 here, Reds lead. That Pirate game at home against Miami, that Cardinal game at home against the Cubs. Pittsburgh leads 5-1 in the bottom of the 8th. The Cardinals, they're batting in the bottom of the 7th. They go into the frame. Game even, 0-0. The Cardinals still batting, having scored 12. 1-2, 12, a dozen runs, and still batting in the bottom of the 7th. They start the day 5 behind the Reds. The Pirates a half game up. Reds lead here 6-2. Pirates leading, Cardinals leading. Gomez batting for Ishikawa. Here in the top of the 8th. Gomez started in center field last night, went 1 for 4. Hitting .235 on the year with 5 home runs. 18 driven in. He's 6 out of 13 as a pinch hitter. Six straight run scoring doubles in that 7th inning for the Cardinals. A triple and then 6 straight run producing doubles.
That's unbelievable.
That's crazy. It's just like that Pirate game where they scored but 4 without the benefit of a hit.
Like a video game.
Yeah. Marshall came on, was able to get Aoki on that fly ball in the 7th inning. Now Gomez batting for Ishikawa here. Braun on deck, then Ramirez. Reds up by 4, 6-2. If it stays this way heading into the top of the 9th, obviously would not be a safe situation to get the inning started. It could become one, depending on what happens. Sam LeCure getting loose, stretching wise out in the Reds bullpen.
What's really interesting, because Dusty Baker has gone away from what he's shown us over the last few years to have certain guys in certain assigned parts of the bullpen, certain innings. This year he's got so many pitchers down there, they're all throwing the ball so well that he feels very comfortable about putting anybody in nearly any situation.
You know, he never or rarely says never about a pitcher in a game, but you just know he'd love to steer clear of Chapman for a couple of days.
Yeah, he would. And that's how important that home run was that Brandon Phillips hit to give them a 4-run lead, so you can go with your non-closer there and probably have a pretty good shot at it.
Cozart. Smoothly done right there to retire the speedy Gomez, first out of the 8th. Here comes Dusty now. Here's a look at the way things are right now. Pittsburgh a halfback, Cardinals 5 back in the Central, and both those teams leading comfortably. Reds leading here by 4. Sean Marshall will exit. He works 2 batters, retires them both. Ryan Braun due up. Sam LeCure has been throwing. Sam LeCure will enter the game here in the top of the 8th. The way this bullpen has performed all year for Cincinnati, but particularly here as of late since the All-Star break. During this homestand, 3-0 with an ERA of under 1, 0.67. Cardinals, Arizona, and now Milwaukee, and they're the numbers to back it up all year. A 2.54 ERA, tops in the National League. Strikeouts per 9 innings, hits allowed, saves. You don't see it there, but average against is near the top as well. They've just done tremendous, tremendous work. Sam LeCure takes over here.
Well, you know, a team that can play good defense and a team that can pitch, especially a bullpen pitching team, you can travel with a team like that because you don't blow leads late. You've got a lot of solid arms out there. The way it stands now, the Red starters have been so healthy and so good that they've really saved this bullpen from being overworked. And that's something that a lot of GMs out there are worried about right now.
Rowland gets Braun at first for the second out. Braun 1 for 4 in this game. 3 for 8 in the series. Has not really had a big hit yet through the first 2 games.
Well, you've also got a run margin right here, 4 runs, and even if he does have a big hit with nobody on base, it doesn't mean much.
Sure. So here's a Ramos Ramirez now. 1 for 3 in this game. Bounced into that 6-4-3 double play in the 6th.
That was a big out right there.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a hit. Ended up being a double play.
Really the defensive play of the game. Turned the whole inning around. Brewers had back-to-back hits, a double and a single. Runners on the corners, and had that ball gone into center field, who knows what would have happened that inning.
Turned out the Brewers ended up getting just the 1 run in that 6th inning after a walk to Hart. Weeks grounded out to third. Reds get 2 in the bottom of the 7th on the Phillips blast. And lead 6-2 here in the 8th with 2 out. LeCure last worked 3 days ago. That was on Wednesday. Looking to get the final out here, and he does on a squibber to the right side. Phillips to Frazier. Down and over to go the Brewers in the 8th. A 6-2 Reds advantage. Reds coming up in the bottom half. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Bronson Arroyo, really good bounce back effort this evening after that last start against Arizona.
Well, his last start against Arizona, he went out and gave up 4 runs in the first inning. He never really could get comfortable in that ball game. Did not go deep into the game, just 3 innings, and ended up having tonight, though, a much better night. Good defense behind him. That double play was a big one. 6 innings of 5-hit 2-run baseball for Bronson Arroyo. He struck out 6. Giovanni Gallardo, he's the guy tonight that gave up 4 runs in the first inning. So I imagine that Bronson Arroyo will send off a call to Gallardo and say, hey, dude, I know exactly how you feel. 4 runs in the first. Tough night. Although Gallardo battled hard after that. You know, when you give up a 4 spot, sometimes your team can't come back from that.
Big strikeout pitcher. Gallardo ends up with just 1 in the game tonight. Arroyo gets 6. Bronson has a dozen wins against Milwaukee in his career. 3 outs away now from getting his 13th, which would be the most against any other team in his career. Meanwhile, the veteran Livan Hernandez is into the game. We saw him earlier this year with the Nationals.
Yeah, there are veterans and then there are veterans.
I said,
and who knows how long this guy actually has been around.
He was with Atlanta earlier this year.
I mean, just when you think you get Bronson Arroyo out there and he's throwing a 60 or 72 mile an hour curveball, and you say, man, is that ever slow? Then you bring in Livan Hernandez, who dials it up to 66.
See the defensive changes for Milwaukee. Gomez, who had pinch hit, stays in the game. Ludwig, big blast back in the 4-run first inning. In the game, he's 2 for 3. Logan Andrusik in the bullpen. Bio tells you that this is the 17th big league season for Livan Hernandez.
I'm talking about all the seasons he played in Cuba before he came over here.
Yeah.
Boy, he has had some big years, though.
And he gets a strikeout of Ludwig to start the bottom of the 8th.
Well, if you're looking for anything that gets thrown by you, you're not going to get that at all from Livan Hernandez. A little slider right there, a little slider action anyway. 80 miles an hour. He went through a stretch there, Hernandez, about 12 years ago when he was with the Giants. He won 17, 13, 12, 15, 11, 15, year after year after year. And over those days, he was being moved from the Giants to the Expos. Of course, the Expos then moved from Montreal to Washington. Then he was in Arizona.
The Yankee charges and gets Frazier at first base.
Hit it like he threw it.
We've seen that all year from Kozar. We see it on the opposite side from a young man, Bianchi, here tonight.
I'll tell you see big leaguers make that play, and they all do it. Every guy on the infield could do that play. Rarely do you see a first baseman have to make that play, but everybody else does. Shortstop, second, third, and they make it look so easy. Then you get down on an amateur diamond, and you know it just takes a while to get that play figured out.
Bianchi gets another chance here, and he throws out Hannigan, and so the Reds go in order in the bottom of the 8th, setting the stage for the top of the 9th. by Dusty's club tonight. Logan Ondrusik takes over. Non-save situation for Ondrusik because of this ball hit by Brandon Phillips in the 7th inning against Jose Veras. Our Nissan drive of the game is the 12th of the year for Brandon.
Well, for the Milwaukee Brewers, that bullpen has been very treacherous. And they've had a hard time bringing in guys that can be consistent pitchers to hold the lead. Brandon Phillips took advantage of a hanging breaking ball from Jose Veras and gave the Reds the kind of lead that they need right here to be able to avoid using Aroldis Chapman and keeping him from a tighter ball game, maybe tomorrow or when the Reds head off to Houston. But Logan Ondrusik, he's been good, just like everybody else down in that bullpen. Good earned run average, strikes out a lot of hitters. In fact, we've seen a bump up in his velocity the last couple of times up, which is really an encouraging sign. He, for a while there, had some back problems, was dropping off in his velocity, but now he seems to be back to his old self.
Works for the 4th time in 6 days. Miguel Cairo takes over for Todd Frazier at first base. Corey Hart leading it off. 4-run lead Reds, 6-2. They about hit the Brewers 10-6. Looking to take the first 2 games of this 3-game series, which means they'd be going for the sweep tomorrow afternoon. 1:10 game, Hall of Fame day. Cooperstown, New York. Barry Larkin of the Reds going in tomorrow, along with former Cub Ron Santo. Bruce is in the spot for this one for out number 1. Remember to come out to Great American Ballpark August 3rd and support the Reds as they battle the NL Central Pittsburgh Pirates. Kick off your weekend with a big bang by sticking around for a spectacular post-game fireworks show with a soundtrack courtesy of Klosterman Baking. For tickets to this NL Showdown, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to Reds.com.
Well, that was some fireworks show last night.
It was a big one, wasn't it? They said it was a 15-minute show. I think it took longer than that.
I think the finale was 15 minutes.
It was a big, big show. People enjoyed themselves.
I'll tell you what, we see fireworks shows on Friday nights all around the league, and nobody does it better than the Reds.
No question about that. Weeks ahead 2-0 here. Reds can hang on here, though. As I mentioned, have the opportunity to go for the sweep of the series. That's the exact same thing that happened here when the Brewers were in town in late June. Reds won the first 2. Didn't get the job done in terms of the sweep. Have the opportunity, it looks like, tomorrow. Cozart throws Weeks out. The Brewers are down to their last out here. Martin Maldonado. Reds trying to push it to 14 games above the 500 mark. That would be the new high water mark of the year. Two out, no one on. Maldonado 0 for 3. Reds led from the get-go, and they scored 4 times in the bottom of the first. RBI single by Bruce, sac fly by Rowland, 2-run homer by Ludwig. Brewers made it 4-1 with a run in the 4th, 4-2 with a run in the 6th, and then a little insurance by Brandon Phillips, 2-run homer in the bottom of the 7th. A 6-2 Reds lead here. Fans on their feet, top of the 9th. And now a strike away from victory number 54. Pirates have won 5-1. Cardinals leading 12-0 in the bottom of the 8th at home against the Cubs. Looks like the standings may stay the same. Ludwig. Reds win. They've won 3 in a row. They've won the first 2 games of this series against Milwaukee, and they'll go for the sweep here against this Brewers ball club tomorrow afternoon as they get a 6-2 win here tonight. Boy, Bronson Arroyo, what a heck of a bounce-back night.
Well, a good night overall for the Reds. They just seem to be coming out, taking care of business in a very workmanlike fashion. They play good defense. They've gotten some good hitting. And without Joey Votto in the lineup, they continue to put W's on the board, and they continue to have a very good homestand. Now with 54 wins, they are the winningest team in the National League.
Nicely done by the Reds tonight. 6-2 the final. More after this.